I took a trip down to see my sister and her family down in the Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina. Not in Myrtle Beach, the Myrtle Beach area. She and her husband just bought a house in a town that is not near civilization. It's not. It's on another planet as far as I'm concerned. It's in the middle of nowhere. My wife and daughter and I went down there on Friday, flew with the baby. Any parents out there who have flown with a baby know it sucks. We've already flown with her twice. Once, she was in the womb. It went fairly well. I can't speak for my wife. She probably was going through hell, but we didn't have people staring at us the whole flight. We went all the way to Hawaii, pregnant. Turned out okay. Second time, we flew down to Florida, Key West. The baby was around 6 months old, maybe younger. That was a struggle. She cried here and there, but she's not mobile. We can kind of contain her, you know, like a virus that hasn't spread too much. We can contain her. This flight to Myrtle Beach International. She's 11 months old, almost a year old. Okay. She's mobile. She's on the run. She's on the go. She doesn't have time to bleed. Okay. She is motoring. And when you have her on a plane that is tight quarters, especially on Spirit Airlines, which, I mean, it's a sardine can, folks. I'm barely 6 foot. I'm hefty, yeah, but I'm barely 6 foot. I'm scrunched into the seat. So this was going to be a challenge. I was expecting the worst, and it was touch and go here and there. But you know how Spirit Airlines makes it worse? They go cheap on everything, and I get it. They do it to make the flights more affordable to you. They charge you for everything. Hey, you want ice? It'll be a nickel. You want to breathe? It'll cost you your firstborn. Anything that you want outside of just sitting there, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. And of course, they have trays. They're half the size of a normal tray, maybe smaller, and they don't have a lock. Just a simple little lock mechanism on them. And so what does my baby do? My baby sees everything and is like, I want to play with that, and that. All over the place, my baby. She's exploratory. She wants to explore, touch things, find out what they feel like, they taste like, they smell like. She's in discovery mode. Okay. She's the Bluetooth. She just turned on her Bluetooth. She's in pairing mode right now. She's discovering shit left and right. And so you got this tray with no locking mechanism, and she's just up and down and up and flipping it up and flipping it down and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it and flipping it up and flipping it down. Come on, Spirit, put a fucking locking mechanism on the goddamn trays. So, like I said, tight quarters. So she's all over the chair in front of her. Yeah, we should have bought a seat for her. Should have put her in a car seat, strapped her in, and then threw on some headphones and said, fuck all y'all, and just be done with it. But no, we decided to put her in our lap. She was just squirmy, wormy the whole time. But she handled herself fairly well. Meanwhile, I'm looking into the seat in front of her. And this guy, middle-aged, he's got a little salt and pepper. He's probably older than me by a few years. And I see him texting. And it's like, I can't help but, you see the person texting. You're trying to gauge what people are feeling around you when you have a baby. Hey, I don't want to fly with the baby. It's my daughter. I love her to death. I don't want to fly with her. I have to. And this guy gets on his phone. I see him text and I go, oh boy, here we go. And of course, the text is, of course, I'm sitting in front of a baby who is already hitting my head. WTF. A fucking baby. I think he might have thrown in an F word there. And it's just like, dude, do you have kids? Have you flown with your own kids before? Obviously not, because you'd be mortified to send that text. You would feel for me and my wife, knowing that we had to deal with slime, just a bowl of slime and Jell-O slipping through our fingers every 2 seconds, dropping stuff on the floor. I mean, we're through everything. The kitchen sink at this chick. books, toys, food. We tried everything. And she actually handled herself fairly well, all things considered. I mean, it's a 2-hour flight. But, I think she did well. If I had to rate it, have to give it a grade, B-. She's doing better than average. She wasn't screaming the entire time. She wasn't kicking and hitting your seat the entire time. She's just, she's on. She's electrified. Got tons of energy out the ass. She's got to do something with that energy. So looking for a little more understanding out of you, guy in front of her, who, and I can understand if it's a teenager, hasn't been through life, doesn't have any experience. But dude, you got some grays up on that head. I can see your face. You got some wrinkles. I can see some crow's feet up in there. You got to know we're trying our best here. We're not happy about what's happening. Spirit Airlines. So we got down there Friday night and we make the drive out to the house, the new house, which in the photos, the house looks glorious. Looks like a little mini castle. And it's got the mother-in-law suite, little cottage in the back left. It's got a pool in the backyard. It's beautiful. Can't really see what's around it. And when we're driving out there, it's a 40-minute to an hour drive because you're on back roads. There is no highway to this place. You're in a single lane road. Your car's barely fitting in the lane. You're like, this is a head-on collision waiting to happen. This is how I go. Cool. In the back country of South Carolina. But no, you're driving for 40 minutes to an hour and it's all tobacco fields and soybean fields. And I asked my mom, I go, because my mom picked us up. She's driving us. And I'm like, Mom, soybean fields? Didn't know that was a thing here in the States. When you hear soybean, my mind goes to edamame. My mind goes to Japanese culture, China, Japan, over there. Like, to me, that's where soybeans come from. I'm dumb. I never claimed to be smart. She goes, yeah, they just, I don't know. I was like, well, I know like soy kind of like hit its stride, started to peak in maybe the late 80s, 90s, especially in the 2000s, started to take off. We got soy milk, got soy everything. Soy. Apparently it makes you grow bitch tits. I still consume it because I'm an idiot. She can't tell me that. So soybean fields have been around forever. And what do they do with it? No one can tell me. That's nuts. So we're driving. If you have any, indication, any hint, if you have any knowledge of what happened to soybeans prior to the 80s, love to know. Is there like a stockpile somewhere I don't know about? Were we feeding it to who? The cows? The cattle? Is that how the cows they get the good milk, that Gucci milk from the soybean? I don't know. We get to the house and of course it's beautiful, but it is surrounded. I mean, it's a whole lot of land, not a lot of neighbors, which kind of is my dream world. Kind of like my dream home because it's like, you know what? I like to connect with people. I like to go to parties. I like house parties. I used to like bars. I like having a house party, a lot of people around me and mingling and whatnot. Would be nice to just be secluded. And I'm sure I would go criminally insane and pull like The Shining and just go ape shit on my family after a month or so. But for that couple of days, for that week, it seemed like paradise. Just like nothing around you. You can blast your music, your movies, and we did. My brother-in-law has the surround system hooked up, and we watched movies full tilt, and it was it shook my rib cage to the core. But just a beautiful area, and I mean there is a neighbor down the street in a trailer. Kind of an interesting situation down the street. Okay. Kind of like we had, they eventually had some people over, and they said, so what do you think of your sister's new digs? And I said, I like it, but it seems like the locale for a horror movie. Like nighttime starts to creep in. All of a sudden there's a scarecrow in the field you didn't see before. And then there's little shadowy figures just creeping through the little stalks of corn and the soybean field. And you're like, oh, well, this is how I go. The locals don't like the Yankees coming down from the north, and now they're here to take us out. You know, and you know, it explains why my brother-in-law and his father are just loaded to the gills with guns. It's like, you know, you're kind of on your own out here. It'll take the cops 5 decades to get to you. The military doesn't even know this place exists. So you got to defend yourself. I get it. I had a Naturday. Natural Light has something called Naturday, which is kind of like their response to Bud Light Lime, which makes Bud Light Lime look like a crock of shit. Looks like so lame. Naturday is like strawberry lemonade. It tastes so good. And you're like, this is not even... Natural Light does this? I could have had 1 million of those for sure. So that's Friday night. Saturday, we had the weather still sucked. Oh, Friday, we put together a grill. My brother-in-law is not subtle. I'm kind of modest. I got a shitty Ford Fusion in the driveway. It breaks down every other week. It looks like crap. It can't even accelerate. Pretty sure it's a death trap. It's a lemon. Life gives you lemons, and I don't know. I don't even know how to make lemonade, so that's where I'm at. Meanwhile, he's got a power wagon. It's like a pickup truck, and it literally says it's a monster truck. Like, what are you doing with a monster truck, dude? Although, you know, when the attack happens, I feel like that's how he lives his life, is like, okay, we're obviously going to get attacked at some point by either zombies or Mexicans or someone who doesn't want us around in mass numbers. I'm going to need a lot of arsenal. I'm going to need an arsenal, artillery, and I'm going to need a power wagon monster truck. And in case you wondered, like, the truck itself is huge. Like, you'll notice it. It's not flying under anyone's radar. And yet it says on the side of it, power wagon. Like, okay, we get it, dude. So, of course, when he gets a grill and he needs to put it together, he gets like this next level grill. I mean, I have a Weber. It does the trick. It's propane. Just throw the shit on, cook it, and it's done. This is like, it's got wood pellets on the side. It's got a sear station on the right. It's got that old timey whistle pipe from the 1930s, you know, like when factory workers get off and they pull the cord on the pipe, on the whistle, and it's just like, whoo, whoo, like that thing on the back of the smoker. It's got like 2 thermometers that you stick into the meat. You can adjust that. You can monitor that. Insane, dude. Oh, so I helped him put it together, which means he kind of put it together and I just like pointed and said, yeah, right there. That looks good. I'm kind of like the foreman on this little project. And it was good because Saturday we grilled and it was good. He bought these like 2-inch thick steaks. The guy at the meat shop was like, are you serious right now? Who are you feeding? A giant? Who are you feeding with this meat? A creature? Sasquatch? And that was good. I'm a member of the Clean Plate Club, so I like crushed mine. And surprisingly, it was like I finished everything. I was good to go. And my brother-in-law didn't. And it was like I think he actually got a little, he was like, oh man, he got a little down on himself. He's like, I got the power wagon. I got the pellet grill. I got the sweet house. I got a pool, weapons. Can't finish my steak. Dude, I'm just fat. It's not like I'd rather have like, you know, the ability to not grow hair like you and not be an ape and also not eat this much and be like a cow and have 4 stomachs. Like I'd rather, you know, don't worry about it. Don't feel like less of a man because you can't finish this gigantic hunk of meat. Anyway, Saturday was the fantasy football draft with a couple of buddies from college, and no one wants to hear about your fantasy football team. No one. But it stinks when you are not in the room. Like that's what fantasy football has become. It's just a way to reunite. It's a reunion. It's like a college reunion, high school reunion every year. Because everyone moves away, they have their families, blah, blah. You don't get to see each other. That's your reunion time. That's the only reason I still play fantasy football. Because you want to see people you haven't seen in a while, and you want to party like it's 1999, essentially. Fuck fantasy football. I don't care about it anymore. I don't care about winning. It is a complete waste of money. In fact, let's just do away with fantasy football teams, throw all the money we would spend on fantasy football teams into sick reunions every year. Let's just do that. Prefer that much more than just seeing my team shit the bed every year and just regret every pick that I've ever made in the draft. But when you're not there in the room, as I was, so far away, and no one hooked up a Skype and no one FaceTimed. It was just like, I might as well be dead. I might as well be on another planet. It stinks. Because you don't know what's going on. You're texting, did we start? When do we start? Have we started yet? And of course, I was not able to text because I'm in the middle of bumfuck South Carolina that has no reception. And it went all right. It went fine. Luckily, the weather sucked because that would have been horrible. I made this trip haphazardly, okay? My fantasy football commissioner, the commish, he was like, hey, listen, this is the date. Lock it in. Lock it up. Don't do anything else that weekend. And of course, I didn't put it in my calendar. I felt bad about not going down to see my sister for 4th of July when we should have because I lost my stupid job. And so when she was like, this weekend works, I was just like, done. Bought it. Didn't even think twice. And then, of course, as soon as I bought it, like 2 days after, they were like, so looking forward to seeing everyone at the fantasy football draft. And I was just like, son of a bitch. Like, I'm down there. You can't auto draft. I'm down there to see my family. I can't be auto drafting. I'm going to end up with 5 kickers. Luckily, the weather stunk because the weather was awesome. And I'm inside and I'm like trying to figure out how to work technology while the sun's giving us life and everyone's having fun in the pool. That would have been the worst. Luckily, the weather sucked. So we all stayed inside and I was able to somewhat enjoy my time with the family. Yeah. So that was Saturday night. And then Sunday, the sun came out, our last day there. Hey, why didn't you go for longer? Why didn't you go for a week? Why didn't you go for blah, blah, blah? I didn't know, my wife's at a new job. She doesn't know she doesn't really have vacation time yet. Just yet. I didn't know if I was going to have a job at that point and whether the new job would be cool with me. Just like taking days off right off the bat. So we only scheduled a weekend. It sucks, but you do what you got to do. So Sunday was the day we're supposed to leave, 5:35 flight. And the sun comes out and we're like, all right, we got to make the most of this. So went out in the pool, did our thing, had a nice relaxing lunch, packed the bags, and we headed to the airport. And we're dreading every second of this because we're like, okay, well, at least when the flight down here was kind of like afternoonish, it was maybe she'll nap on the flight. The flight coming back, she already went through her 2 naps. The baby daughter. And now it's like, oh boy, like the flight back, it's Sunday. People are probably hungover. They're all pissed off. At least the Friday flight, people are excited. Like, the weekend, motherfucker. Yeah. Like they can't wait and they're happy and they're going to let some shit slide. Like it's okay. The baby, you know what? I don't care because it's the weekend, baby. Sunday, it's like the weekend's over. I got work tomorrow. Like, I don't need a baby crying. I want to cry. So we get there. We find out, the flight's been delayed a couple hours. Nothing like hanging out at the airport for 3+ hours for your flight. So we're waiting there. Baby's kind of holding her own. All of a sudden, I have my wife's on the phone. And I'm like, you know what? Baby's getting a little antsy. So I'm going to take her and do a little stroll. And we do this from time to time. Wherever we are, if we're in a public place and there's room to roam, we're going to roam. Because that's how the baby calms itself. It's like, okay, I see all this. I need to ingest this into my eyeballs ASAP. And it's like, all right, let's go for it. Take the baby in my arm, walk down. We're the furthest gate. Okay. We're on the west wing if you want, like all the way down at the end. So it's like, pick her up, take her all the way down back to where we came up. I'm walking towards the other end of the airport because I'm like, I'm going to cover every square inch of this motherfucker. So this baby is like, all right, I'm bored now. I'll go to bed. I'm on the other side of the airport, and all I hear is flight 792 from Myrtle Beach to Newark, New Jersey has been canceled. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I turn around, and there is just a stampede of people. Just angry, irritated, frustrated travelers and just like glued together in one glob, rushing to the front desk, ticket place, check in to hammer out, what next? What do we do now? And I'm like, we're screwed because I'm on the other side of the airport, and little Bree decided to take a little poo-poo in her diaper. So now we got to take care of that. So I'm like, all right, well, we're in this for the long run. Spirit. There is a reason Spirit Airlines has been voted the worst in the world multiple years in a row. And it's because of situations like this. You've canceled the flight. We pick up the phone because we're not going to wait in line for 2 to 3 hours to talk to the one agent you have behind the counter. When you cancel a flight, stock up your customer service. That's when you need your customer. And I know it's a Sunday, church and all. I get it. Chick-fil-A shut down. I get it. But you need to stock up on people to talk to in a situation like this. Not Spirit. They're like, your flight's canceled. Bye. Like, we're just going to disappear. Least helpful airline in the world. The line was like so long, not moving. We tried calling the customer service line, and they're like, just like go online. Go to our website and manage your travel. I log in to the Spirit website. There is no manage travel link anywhere. And it still says delayed online. And I know no one wants to hear about airline horror stories. I'll just say I'm just trying to get across to you the lack of fucking help. You tell me to go online, manage travel. There is no manage travel section. I log in, I go to my trips, and it still says delayed online. You haven't updated that shit. And then I get a text and an email. And the email and the text say, hey, shit's canceled. Sorry, bro. And it's like, go to manage travel at spirit.com. Click the link. It takes me to the homepage. Dude, just be more helpful. Be more helpful. And so my wife's panicking, freaking out. She keeps saying, I'm about to cry. I'm like, you start to cry. The baby starts to cry. I'm going to start to cry. We can't have everyone crying. We can't have that in an airport. So we're trying to, and so here's the kicker. They're like, she's like, just book another flight through Spirit. Just book another flight online. I don't care. So I'm like, okay. Monday, 0 flights. I mean, what? The next flight is Tuesday night. It's Sunday night. So I'm like, my sister, I'm like, hey, can we stay at your place? And she's like, hey, no. Yeah, I mean, she didn't say no, but she was very polite, but you could tell it was like, no. So my mom, who does live in the Myrtle Beach area, very closer to the airport, stay at her place. And then it's like, well, we can pay for a flight from Charleston, which is 2 or 3 hours away by car, not by magic carpet, Aladdin. And it's like that flight leaves at 6:10 on Monday night. So we got to drive 2 to 3 hours. We got to be there 2 to 3 hours before the flight. So we're looking at 4 to 6 hours of just like trying to maintain composure. And then doesn't go to Newark. It goes to JFK. So that's another 2 hours from JFK to Newark, and then another hour. You get it. It's a lot of hours on the docket. So eventually we're like, are we going to do this? Yeah, we're going to do this. We decide to rent a car. Rent a car and drive from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to Newark, New Jersey. Now, if you haul ass and you don't stop from the moment you get on the road and there's no traffic, you're looking at maybe 10 hours, start to finish, door to door. We got the rental car around 9:30ish. We didn't get on the road till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. By the way, Chick-fil-A, you're closed on Sunday, and then you stop serving breakfast before 11? What? There's a reason that Popeyes has overtaken you as the number one fried chicken sandwich. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never actually had Popeyes. I think I might have had their popcorn shrimp, or popcorn chicken, something like that once in a blue moon a while ago. But step up your game, Chick-fil-A. And why do you have a person waiting out there with a tablet? No. That person, it's like 100 degrees there. You're liable. I'm pretty sure that's not humane. So we did the drive in about, I want to say 12 hours. Not bad with a baby. I mean, the baby had little minor freakouts here and there. We did 2 or 3 stops, one to stretch the legs, one to get gas, one to get food. And we watched, I didn't watch, I was driving, but we played Tayo, the friendly bus, non-stop. I went to bed that night. We didn't get back here until probably midnight. And I couldn't get it out of my head. There were no other thoughts in my head except Tayo, the friendly bus. Tayo, 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 Tayo. He's a friendly little bus. Speeding up, slowing down. Tayo always loves to run. Tayo, 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 Tayo. He's a friendly little bus. Speeding up, slowing down. Tayo always likes to have fun. It goes on. I don't know the rest of it because my mind starts to melt at that point. Non-stop Tayo for 12 hours. And I got to say this. I've heard enough Tayo. I haven't watched it, but I've heard enough Tayo to know that I don't think it should be called Tayo the Friendly Little Bus because Tayo is like a secondary character. There's Donnie and there's all these other characters that they're introducing left and right. And it's like, where's Tayo in all this? I mean, he's the titular character and he's like nowhere to be found. It's also so Canadian. Apparently it's South Korean and maybe it's dubbed by Canadians, but like every 5 seconds it's, oh, sorry, Tayo, sorry. Like they're just apologizing left and right. And it's like, this is so Canadian, so Canuckish. And like, it was a long haul, a very long haul. And I love that when, Sunday night when my mom picks us up, my mom is 70 plus years old. Not as good a driver as she used to be. I'll say that because we go to Kroger's, we go to the grocery store just to pick up some things here and there for the road trip. And she's like, oh, I'm in the wrong lane. So she stops suddenly and backs up without looking at all. And of course I look behind us and there's like an SUV or like some kind of Jeep, just like hauling ass backwards to not get, hit, like reverse butt fucked. And she pulls into the handicap spot because she is handicapped. And this guy pulls around and stops next to us in the middle of a road, the main road right in front of Kroger's, the supermarket. And he's staring my mother down. I'm thinking to myself, is this what I'm looking forward to in my 40s? I'm almost 40. Is this the 40s? Really? I'm sitting on a plane and I'm bitching about a baby behind me, or I'm in a car and an elderly woman, sorry, Ma, you are a senior citizen, backs up because whatever, she's trying to pull into a spot, and you're going to pull around and you're going to give us the death stare, dude. My mom's not even looking at you, but you do see there's a 7-year-old woman in the seat, and you don't see that there's a baby in the back and my wife and me in the passenger seat, and I'm going to death stare you back, dude. Cause like, dude, what's your goal here? To make us feel bad? My mom don't give a shit. So there's that. But like, what's the end game here? You want me to get out of the car and then you're going to fight me in front of all these people and you're going to win and everyone's going to cheer and put you on their shoulders and give you a trophy and a medal and like induct you into the badass tough guy Hall of Fame. What are you envisioning right now? Do you want an apology? We're sorry. It was a mistake. What the actual fuck? Okay. All right. Yeah. So that was my weekend. Monday, just epic road trip. 12 hours, which I was actually fine with. I'd do it again. But you don't realize the toll it takes on your body. I mean, you're just sitting there for 12 hours. You figure, all right, whatever. But it is a form of jet lag. Like yesterday, Tuesday, it's why the show is not out. This is currently Wednesday. You know, I hate to get all time jumpy on you, but like yesterday was Tuesday. Usually I record on Tuesday, publish Wednesday. I didn't have any gas in the motherfucking tank yesterday. Couldn't even, I'm shocked I woke up and I was just in a foul mood all day. And that's probably the time when you do want to record something like this is when you're foul. But part of me is glad I didn't because I get an extra day of content to pour through. So yeah, as far as TV goes, didn't get to watch a lot of adult TV this weekend. It was a lot of Blaze and the Monster Machines and Blippi, which and Paw Patrol. Which I get Paw Patrol and I get Blaze and the Monster Machines, which seems like a Cars knockoff, if I'm being honest. Blippi is just a guy, just a white guy in suspenders and a bow tie and funky glasses and a funky hat. And it's... And my sister, of course, because, there's nothing but advice coming at me right now. When you're unemployed... and you're putting out a shitty show like this one, you're just getting advice left and right. Oh, you know what you should do? Oh, what should I do? And I know people are trying to help. I get it. But my sister's like, you should do what Blippi does. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm good with kids, but I'm not dressing up like that. That guy probably has a serious cocaine problem. Allegedly. I don't know. Do I need to throw that on there? But like, if you become popular like this, and my sister was saying that he's gotten some negative feedback because of stuff he's done in his past. Can you imagine me getting popular? All the skeletons that have come out of my closet? No, thanks. I'd rather just give you all my skeletons now in the closet and not become popular or rich or famous or anything like that. No, thanks. But this Blippi guy, like, it's just the way it's shot. And it's like, it's always just him. There's no one else. Like, you're in an abandoned go-kart place. Where is everyone? And why are you talking to my kids, man? That's the other thing. Like, at least Blue's Clues, it's like, okay, it's kind of a youngish guy. It's a little weird, but he's very like, he's interacting with these animated figures on the screen and this little puppy dog and blah, blah, blah. Blippi's just Blippi, dude. There's just Blippi. And he's in like an abandoned place talking to your kids. It just seems, I don't know. The kids loved it, but it's like, I can see why kidnappings happen and abductions because of shit like this. He was in an abandoned playground, like after hours. He's just going around like playing with all this stuff. And I'm like, don't you have better shit to do, my man? I don't know. Children's programming with YouTube Kids is like the wild, wild west for sure. But I feel like I could make a killing just doing stuff for kids entertainment, toys and all that jazz. He's just got to be like really exaggerated and like always like wide-eyed and like, oh, really? What? Wow. Oh, sorry. Like, that's all it is. I can feel like I could just make a YouTube. My mom's like, you should just make a YouTube channel like that. I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, mom. Let me just do that. I don't even want, like, I would not feel good about I'm already in a bad place right now in terms of depression. Like, I don't need that on my conscience. Like, hey, I'm making millions off of making stupid, goofy faces for kids. No, thanks.